Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. And I'm focusing this week on where sermons come from. Where does this preacher get off coming in and standing in the pulpit and saying, hear a word from God, hear the word of the Lord? Well, we stand on a long-standing tradition. You see, there was a time before the biblical text actually existed. There was a time before things were written down, and it was a prophetic understanding that there were people who rose up from within the tribes and the nations. There were people who rose up who were singled out, specialized. They went through training. Even if you look in 1 Samuel and that kind of story with Eli and Samuel's story, there were folks who were specifically said, you go talk to God, Moses. You go listen to God, Abraham. You go ponder all of these things and bring us a word. Bring us a word. And so the prophetic tradition often begins with, hear a word from the Lord. In other words, the idea here is that when I stand in the pulpit or when I stand behind a lectern or when I stand in front of a crowd and I deliver a sermon, I'm not supposed to be bringing my words. I'm supposed to be bringing the word from the Lord, things that matter because God said these things matter. And how I go about doing that? Well, I go find Jesus in my prayers and in my readings. I focus on who Jesus is. And I focus on the reading, and I focus on the understanding, and I think about all kinds of other stuff. We're going to talk a lot about that this week. But the understanding I'm bringing here is this, is that what I bring is meant to be not from me. It is me. I'm in the box. But it's through me as a vessel that God speaks. It's through me as someone who strives to live a humble life, walking with God, and preaching kindness and generosity and justice and the things that the scriptures highlight over and over and over again, the things that our tradition has taught us over and over again, the salvation story that matters. You see, when we stand in the pulpit as pastors and preachers, or whether you're listening to us online in a devotion or in a podcast, or whether you're hearing or reading scriptures or sermons from old, or even a devotional, what you're doing is you're encountering the attempt by someone to speak on God's behalf, to speak grace, to speak love, to speak Christ. That is the goal of every pastor. We all struggle and strive with it. We all are tempted, obviously, to bring our own stuff within it. But the reality is that we're striving most of all to simply bring the word that God is speaking that day. Hear a word from the Lord. The next time you're encountering a devotion or preaching, listen for God within it. Pay more attention to what God is making your mindfulness and your brain go to, your heartstrings go to. It's okay to wander off in thought. It's okay to go down a rabbit trail with Jesus while someone's preaching, because it may just be that is the word that God is bringing to you that day to make us better together. Amen.